The Navy came with 3 ships. Elena heard them before she saw them. The no steady thrum of large engines in the dark, coming from the north, growing louder through the hours between midnight and dawn. She was on deck when they arrived, she's between midnight and dawn. She was on deck when they arrived, standing at the rail in the cold Atlantic air, watching the running lights of 3 vessels spread across the horizon and converge on the running lights of 3 vessels spread across the horizon and converge on the free Redier's position with the calm certainty of ships that knew exactly where they were. Going and had not come to ask permission. Price stood beside her. "That is not a support vessel," he said quietly. "That is a response." The largest of the 3 came alongside at 0400 hours. The men who crossed over to the Istas Meridian were not in uniform. They wore civilian clothes and they carried equipment cases, and they moved through the Meridian with the practiced efficiency of people who had done this in other places on other nights and knew exactly which rooms to secure and which equipment to tag and which people to separate and where to put them. Price was taken to the mess. The 2 technicians were taken to their cabins. Elena was taken to the operations room. Caldwell was already there. He was older than she had imagined from his voice. Late 60s, gray and careful, in the way of men who have spent long careers being careful. He was sitting at the main monitor with his hands flat on the table and a plain brown folder in front of him, and he looked at Elena when she came in the way a man looks at someone he has been thinking about for some time. "Sit down," he said. Elena sat. He looked at her for a moment. Then he said, "Your grandfather was the best radio operator I ever worked with. I want you to know that. He was precise, and he was calm, and on the night of November 9th, 1968, he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He wrote down what he heard, and he gave it to his commanding officer, and when his commanding officer told him he had heard nothing, he accepted that, and he kept his word for the rest of his life. That is not a small thing. We understood what we were asking of him." Elena looked at the folder on the table. "What is in there?" she said. Caldwell put his hand on the folder. Not opening it, just resting his hand on it the way you rest your hand on something before you decide what to do with it. "What do you know about the deep scattering layer?" he said. Elena knew it. Every marine researcher knew it. A layer of biological material, mostly small organisms, that sits in the ocean between 200 and 1,000 meters and migrates vertically every day, rising at night and descending at dawn. It showed up on sonar as a false bottom. It was one of the first things sonar operators learned to account for. "I know what it is," she said. In 1962, a Navy research submarine was conducting deep water sonar surveys in the North Atlantic. Caldwell said, "Standard work, mapping the bottom." The operator noticed an anomaly in the scattering layer readings. Something in the layer that was not moving with the layer. Something large that was holding position at around 800 meters and not migrating with the rest of the biological material. He opened the folder. He slid a photograph across the table. It was a sonar image. Old, the resolution poor, the contrast high. But the shape in the center of the image was clear enough. Large, irregular. Not the bottom. Not a whale. Not anything in the standard classification charts. They tracked it for 3 weeks, Caldwell said. It moved, not randomly. It had patterns. It had what looked like preferred depths and preferred locations and something that in a known animal you would call behavior. It investigated the submarine. It kept its distance, but it investigated. And then it went down, below the scattering layer, below the survey depth, down to the photograph across. This one more recent. Better resolution. Better resolution. The Redfin was sent in 1968 to attempt contact, he said. That was the mission, not a routine patrol. A contact mission. We had been tracking the thing for 6 years by then. We knew where it lived. We knew its patterns. And someone decided it was time to make contact. Elena looked at the second photograph. The shape was larger in this one, much larger. And it was close to something, close to a submarine-shaped outline at the bottom of the image. The Redfin found it, Caldwell said, at 2,800 feet. They found it and they made contact and Lieutenant Commander Harris sent his transmission, and your grandfather wrote it down and then the transmission stopped and the Redfin did not come back up. What is it? Elena said. Caldwell was quiet for a moment. We do not know what it is, he said. We have been watching it for 62 years, and we do not know what it is. We know what it does. We know what it does. Older than anything we have a framework for. We know it does not leave that location. It has never left that location in 62 years of observation. It stays at depth, and it stays near the Redfin, and it stays near the Redfin, and it stays near the Redfin. Why does it stay near the Redfin? Elena said. Caldwell looked at the folder. Because of the crew, he said. He said it quietly. The way you say something you have been not saying for a very long time, it keeps the crew. We do not know why, what function that serves for it, or what it wants from them. But it has kept them at depth for 56 years, and they are still there, and they are not dead, and they are not alive, and any are not alive, and any are not alive, and any are not alive. In any way we have a word for. Elena thought about the man in the hatch, the deep water eyes, the face that had not aged. Go back. He was warning me, she said. Yes, Caldwell said. He knew what would happen if I got too close, she said. He was trying to protect me. Caldwell nodded once. Elena looked at the photographs on the cable, then at the folder. Then at the folder. Then at Caldwell. You have been watching it for 62 years, she said. You have 3 ships out there right now. You have equipment and personnel and 62 years of data. And in all of that time, nobody has tried to get the crew back. Caldwell looked at her for a long time. We have tried, he said. 4 times. We lost people each time. The thing does not harm the crew. It does not extend that courtesy to anyone who comes for them. So you stopped trying, Elena said. We accepted the situation, Caldwell said. Elena looked at him. I am not going to accept the situation, she said. Caldwell looked at her the way her grandfather looked in the one photograph she had of him. Tired, carrying something enormous, and underneath that, somewhere very deep, something that might have been relief. I know, he said. That is why I told you everything. He closed the folder and pushed it across the table to her, and he said, What do you need? Chapter 4 ends here. Chapter 5, Finale. Coming Friday. Subscribe to The Drifting Dark. The Navy is not stopping her. Nothing is.